All right, we got a blockbuster trade in the NFL just over 3 weeks away from the draft. The Buffalo Bills are sending former All-Pro wide receiver Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans in exchange for a second-round pick. This is a massive trade that potentially could shake up the entire AFC picture here. We've had rumblings for about a year now that Stefon Diggs could be looking to move on from Buffalo. I did a video last offseason covering the situation. They were starting to get some legs to it. But the more and more this season went on, you could see the visible frustration with Stefon Diggs, his cryptic social media post, calling out Josh Allen like yesterday on Twitter. People talking about, did Josh Allen need Stefon Diggs to be great? And Stefon Diggs was like, yeah, no, he kind of did. Stuff like that. So Diggs is out in Buffalo. The Bills are cutting ties with him. This is kind of Diggs' MO now. He was the same way in Minnesota, gets a contract extension, rumblings that he's upset. He gets dealt out of Minnesota, and now he has the exact same end in Buffalo, kind of a diva type wide receiver. But as far as the Houston Texans are concerned, what a massive, massive move. This is a team that was awful 2 seasons ago. The second overall pick in the draft, they were a complete dumpster fire. D'Amico Ryans has completely rebuilt this squad in just 1 season, and now I think they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. They have a stud rookie season from quarterback CJ Stroud. They win a home playoff game. They go to the divisional round. Everything is looking up for this franchise, for this team. And what do? They add. They have a lot of money. They spend money in free agency. They upgrade their pass rush. They sign pass rusher Danielle Hunter. They go and trade for Joe Mixon. They give him a contract extension. They re-sign tight end Dalton Schultz. And now they pick up Stefon Diggs to pair with what was already a deadly 1-2 combo with Nico Collins and Tank Dell last season. Now Dell's coming off of a leg injury where he missed the end of the season. But man, what a 3-headed monster Houston now has. A legit number 1 receiver in Nico Collins. Pair him with a 1A receiver like Stefon Diggs. Now Diggs is 30, so he is slowing down a little bit. That's kind of the benchmark for wide receivers. But then put back in there a true vertical deep threat in Tank Dell, and now they're looking to avoid not only the sophomore slump we've seen with some quarterbacks, but now they're going for gold, it looks like, trying to bring home a Lombardi to Houston. Maybe they'll take just an AFC Championship game appearance, something this franchise has yet to do. And when you look at the Bills, this was a disastrous trade for them overall, I think. Now, you kind of had to move on from Stefon Diggs, but they got a 2025 second-round pick, essentially, that's coming through the Vikings. Full circle moment. I kind of laughed when I saw it was the Vikings pick that the Texans acquired this year, giving up their first. And that's it. And you got to send overall a 4th and a 5th to go get rid of Diggs. They're also going to take on a $31 million dead cap hit. That's the largest cap hit for a non-quarterback in NFL history. And they gave Diggs an extension in April of 2022 to try and keep him happy that they did not have to give. Diggs signed a 5-year contract back in 2018 with the Vikings, so he was under contract through 2023. The Bills wanted to keep him happy in 22. They gave him an extension. They paid almost $21 million in extra 2022 and 2023 to keep him around, and ultimately it does not work. They take a massive dead cap hit. And as far as the Texans are concerned, they've had a fantastic offseason. They've been wheeling and dealing, moving picks. This is ultimately what the Texans ended up with. So they got the 42nd overall pick this year from Minnesota. They end up with wide receiver Stefon Diggs. They got to pay us $19 million in salary, but there's a caveat to that. We're going to check about that in a second. They get pick number 188 and 189 this year, and a 5th round pick in 2025. And all they gave up was pick number 23, a 2025 second round pick, and pick number 232 in this year's draft. So they got an absolute haul for a team that is now a legitimate Super Bowl contender. They're going all in right now, and they really didn't give up a whole lot. But as far as the Diggs contract is concerned, I don't know if they've completely updated this, but it looks like they have. The Texans, if this does not work out with Diggs, they're not on the hook for anything. They can get out of this contract with zero dead cap money. Now, once it kicks in, they're going to be paying him about $19 million a year for the next 3 years into his age 34 season. Is Diggs going to be cool with that? I don't know. He is Diggs. He seems like he just always wants to be at the top end of the wide receiver market, regardless of what his production was. Now, his production was good last year. He had 1,100 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. So he had a solid season, but it just didn't feel like the Stefon Diggs we've seen in the past. So the Texans could really make out like bandits and not get too harmed if this ultimately does not work out. But it's definitely worth the risk. I think there's a solid core there. Diggs isn't going to be like a guy that you have to, you kind of have to feed him, but I don't think CJ's the quarterback that's going to feel the need to feed him. He has 2 other great wide receivers, a very good tight end to throw the football to. You can hand it off to Joe Mixon. This is a legitimate Super Bowl contender in the AFC, but in comes a new Super Bowl contender, out goes another. I think Buffalo is done. Their wide receiver core is Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir. Mac Hollins, woohoo! Now the Bills have 11 picks in this year's draft. They're going to have to go all in. I think 3 wide receiver minimum. Definitely a wide receiver in the first round because Josh Allen needs some help. Just when I thought the Bills were taking the right steps, they get the run game going. They play well. They fall apart and lose at home to the Chiefs. They don't take their opportunity. And now they got no weapons. They cut their entire defense, it feels like. Is Josh Allen going to want to stay in Buffalo? Is Sean McDermott going to survive a rebuild? I don't take Buffalo super seriously. I thought they should have moved on, tried to get Bill Belichick, and retool this thing really quickly. On the defensive side, the offense would have been good enough to maybe get them over the hump. Now it feels like a wasted time in Buffalo, maybe a complete waste of a career. And we know what Buffalo was before Josh Allen. They were dog shit. They were the Cleveland Browns. They were awful. They hadn't won a playoff game since the 90s. It was a real struggle for this franchise. They finally get a quarterback to take over. And now, what does it have you? A lot of question marks and a lot of heartbreak. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are the Texans a legitimate Super Bowl contender? Do you think this team can take the next step? It's got a very weak division, man. I know Indianapolis is okay, but Anthony Richardson, injury question marks. Tennessee is trash, and Jacksonville, massive letdown last year. Are the Jags, is Trevor Lawrence even good anymore? Do we even know? So I think it's wide open for this Texans team who already has playoff experience. And Buffalo, what does their future hold? Does Josh Allen get dealt out of town and they go full rebuild mode? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We got new sports content every single day. If you want to support the channel more, sign up for a channel membership. You get exclusive access to videos, early access to videos, help support me, allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you all tomorrow.